for Tom. Tom, it was a cheesy zombie movie you made in the middle of the country. Started out with a guy who was reanimated in a barn. I can't remember the name.
Oh, that piece of shit.
You died like in the first 5 minutes.
I wanted to die in the first.
What was the name? What was the name?
I said Children of the Living Dead.
Yes. Thank you.
Don't, please. If you see the video store, take it, hide it, document it. Burn it, yeah.
Other question? Who's the glasses?
The evisceration scene at the end of this movie, we're going to see, what I guess it's the Colonel gets eviscerated.
Oh, spoil it.
What? But that's a good point. Everybody here has seen the movie a number of times, right?
So to me, that was one of the this is one of my favorites of the
It's George's favorite too.
Yeah, and I just was wondering, what did you actually use? I could assume it was probably pig intestines or something, or was it? It didn't look plastic. It didn't look rubbery. It didn't look latexy.
It was. No, you can't get better than the real thing. You can make rubber stuff that doesn't fall and move and splat like the real stuff. It was actually a pig intestines that were in a refrigerator that somebody unplugged for 2 weeks before we used it. It was so, I can't tell you how rotten it was. And poor Joe Pilato, the guy who we tore apart. You know, we had our noses stuffed, we had masks on, we had English leather on our faces, something so we wouldn't smell the horrible rotting intestine. But poor Joe, he couldn't be protected because you'd see up his nose, you know. So he suffered the most. He was trapped on the floor and couldn't move once he was open, and that stuff just...
So his legs were underneath.
Oh yeah, he was under the floor.
The rest of the torso was like a
complete fake body.
Fake body.
And there was not a rubber chicken in there. So people keep saying that I put a rubber chicken in there. It looked like a rubber chicken, but it wasn't. But it was kielbasa and pig intestines and
Did you use kielbasa?
Yeah. Yeah. With barbecue sauce.
More questions from the audience. You, sir.
This is kind of a general question I didn't really notice, but what is the reason for George Romero's expatriatism to Canada recently? He lives there now, doesn't he?
One word, right? Love.
Yeah, I think so. I think he just enjoys living in Toronto. I don't think there's any. I don't think he moved there because he found somebody who wanted to live. And he has nothing against the United States or Pittsburgh or.
He's actually a communist.
But he enjoys living in Toronto. It's really that simple.
So if you want to be a zombie, you have to be Canadian.
I'm so crushed because now my generation missed out on all Pittsburgh.
That's true, because when you're born in Pittsburgh, one of the things you want to be when you grow up is a zombie in a Romero movie.
We're taking it back.
Somebody has to
George Bush.
start doing that.
Yes.
I think he's just calling attention to himself. Move on.
Which is monster. You, yes.
This is a question for everyone on the panel. Other than the obvious answer, which is the mind, when you think back on working on the film, what comes to mind for you personally? What memory sticks out in your mind?
Go to mind was hard to beat.
The day I turned vegetarian was when I walked in and saw all these zombies in full makeup, eating, like ribs or something, and I was like, that was it.
I think of the crew. The crew was just so much fun.
The crews on George's films were always fun.
Because it was a family.
Yeah, it was a family, which has always been the case with everything.
That's a testament to George. He made
Absolutely.
He made you feel that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was your buddy. He wasn't your boss.
Right.
The makeup room was a big thing, and there was and Tom ran that room, and Brad Nicotero was there. I met him. He was a little intern at the time, and we just had spent a lot of time in there getting the makeup on and taking it off. Not so many people were around to help you, but it took just as long to get it off. So there was a lot of housing around in the makeup room.
At the same time,
with loud music.
during this whole time, there's also kind of a sadness, in my mind, Jonathan shares it with us, that you realize this might be the end of the Pittsburgh dream, because that's when George had separated from his then partner, Richard Rubenstein, this whole dream of a Pittsburgh corporation, at the time, Royal Entertainment, producing motion pictures in Pittsburgh, would come to an end. And even George is going to advance in his career, as he has. But he kind of dissolved that whole network of people that would make things together.
My favorite memory of being at the mine, working on the film is it's watching Howard Sherman transform himself. I think it's one of the best creature characterizations since Karloff's Frankenstein. I think it's just a marvelous, marvelous job, and I think you'll see that. Well, you've all seen it probably before, but I think Howard Sherman's work as Bob was one of the most fascinating things for me to watch.
Yeah, it was interesting because two of the greatest zombie performances were Howard Sherman and David Emke.
Yeah, and he did. Yeah, absolutely.
In Romero.
Howard was just, Howard was just the understudy on Broadway for Robin Williams. And Tiger.
Bengal Tiger.
Yeah. Howard was
But
Very good
now, when we made the movie, he was Howard Sherman. Now he's Sherman Howard. Right?
Oh, is that so?
He switched his name. That's how he's billed now. He switched his name.
I did not know.
Yes.
This is for the whole panel. I was just wondering, what's your favorite movie? Whether one you worked on or just one you like watching, what's your favorite?
Impossible. You can't even know what's your favorite 10 movie. It's only because of the thought process. If you think of one, like Ben-Hur, and I'm thinking of Barry Lyndon, and there's like quite a few favorites. Can't pick out one, huh? The Fall. Has anybody seen The Fall? How is it that nobody has heard of this magnificent masterpiece? I saw it today. It's changed my whole attitude toward movie making. It's called The Fall. David Fincher brought it up. He didn't inspire. They didn't direct it. It's Kirkstein, right? It just blew my mind. It's English speaking. It's Los Angeles in the 20s. It's unbelievable. It's on Blu-ray. Anyway, sorry.
Dr. Duvazo.
Mark?
You probably never heard of him.
Go ahead, I'm so sorry.
No, he does. I know that Casablanca is one of my favorites, but I don't know one that's maybe one is very difficult.
Oh, sure.
I love Barry Lyndon.
Yes, Barry Lyndon. Every frame is a thing. But then there's also Debbie Does Dallas.
No, of course, my favorite Romero is after Day of the Dead, of course, is Martin. And those of you in here that have seen everything else except that,
Shame on you.
Go see it.
exactly. Please go see it.
Before they make the remake.
Are you serious?
With Angel Jennings in The Last Left.
Oh, yeah.